Hello MavMind Collective and welcome to another episode of the Hypnosales Show. Today I'm going to be talking about how to make anyone forget about the competitor. I've learned this technique many years ago, and it's because I was a hypnotist for many years, and when I started combining hypnosis with sales to create hypnosales, which is what this show is, in my customer-facing role, which I'm assuming you're in a customer-facing role too. That's why you're subscribing and watching and following, because you want to learn all these customer-facing communication techniques, which is what hypnosis and sales really is. This is one of the things I learned to do, and I do it pretty much every time a competitor is involved, as much as I can. It's called creating amnesia. So I learned it as a hypnotist with clients that were trying to stop smoking or stop overeating or other kinds of problems that they're struggling with, that they were coming to me for hypnosis to help them. And I learned about amnesia and creating amnesia and helping them to forget about things so they could focus on the right things. So I could put suggestions into their subconscious while they were in hypnosis to help them like stop doing things, avoid doing things that they habits, get out of the habits that they were, like smoking or whatever. So they could create some amnesia. What they call creating amnesia is planting that suggestion. Well, you can do the same thing with your clients, but it's a very specific way to do it because it's a business sense. You're not really hypnotizing them clinically, and they're not really agreeing for you to put them in a trance or anything, but you can still use the hypnotic language pattern, and it invokes the same mechanism in their subconscious, and you can use it to your advantage while you're trying to get the message across to them. So I'll share with you, there's two parts to it. That's why I have it covered. I'm going to reveal each part separately. So the first part is, believe it or not, can you guess what it is? Can you guess? Just tell them to forget about the competitor. Of course, you have to do that, right? But you're probably saying, Maverick, well, wait a minute. I am not just going to go in there and just tell them to forget about the competitor. Well, I'm telling you, yes, I'm going to agree with you. You can't just tell them. That's why there's two parts. But the first part is to actually say to them, I want you to forget about XYZ company, whatever the competitor's name is. That's what the blank is here. That represents whatever competitor you're dealing with at the time that you are aware of. Once you know who you're competing against, you say, what I want you to do is forget about the competitor. So you say it like that, and then you have to add on this part, that the subconscious, because it won't accept it like this. It'll fight you. They'll resist. Just like you're thinking, I would never say this to someone, because if someone said this to you, you'd be like, I'm not going to forget. How dare you tell me to forget about them? How dare you? Don't even think about asking me to forget about a competitor. That's just so cocky, right? That's what you're thinking, right? I am too. That's why there's a second part. So can you guess what it is? Do you know how to make it work? Here's how to make it work. You say, for just the next blank minutes. That's the key. This is the secret. So I'd like you to forget about the competition for just the next 30 minutes, next 15 minutes while we demo, or while I explain to you why our product is a better solution for you, or how our product works, so you can fully understand. I need you to concentrate on our product and what I'm going to say for the next 30 minutes. And then after the 30 minutes, then you can remember the competition. But for right now, during this 30 minutes, I need you to just put them out of your mind. Forget about them, because I need you to focus. So you can also add that too. You can say, because I need you to focus on what I'm going to show you, but it's only for the next 30 minutes or 20 minutes or the next hour, like whatever time you want. Put it in say minutes. I've tweaked this all different ways. I've tried it different ways. I've noticed when I say minutes, it works the most effectively when I say some number of minutes. And what this is actually doing in the subconscious, the mechanism is it's dealing with the logical part of their subconscious and their conscious and subconscious, the connection between their conscious and subconscious, which deals with time. So subconsciously, we don't understand time. At the deepest root level of subconscious, the part we're not aware of, there's no such thing as time. Time is a concept anyway. So think about it. It's a high level concept. The fact that we keep time and we know what time it is, and we know what happened in the past and the future, past and future, is a concept that we use. It's a model that we use to deal with our memories, to deal with what we're planning. So we look at our memories to figure out what we're planning in the future. And that's a higher level functioning thing, and it's something we do at the conscious level. We're doing that at a conscious level. At the subconscious level, there's no concept of time. There's no future or past. At the subconscious, there's only this moment. That's all there is. So whenever you say just for the next 30 minutes, you're actually distracting your consciousness, the logical part of their brain and their mind, to say, oh, I don't need to forget about them forever. I just need to forget about them for the next 30 minutes that are coming up. And they'll totally accept that. They'll say, oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. Like, that's totally comfortable at that point, because you're basically you're satisfying their logical part of their mind, of their consciousness, that it's not forever. And it's a time-based thing, and it's a future thing for the next 30 minutes. That's why I say next, not these 30 minutes, the next 30 minutes that are coming up. So that ends up being very powerful for the consciousness to go, okay, that's not a threat. I can do that. And it lowers the defense, and it says, okay. And then guess what will happen? Because you told them to forget about the subconscious hears forget about the competition, right? It hears that part. The logical conscious part hears for just the next 30 minutes. So each part, conscious and subconscious, hears what they need to hear in order to be comfortable to go ahead and do this. But the key is that the subconscious is forgetting about the competitor. And maybe it's for the next 30 minutes, or maybe they'll just start to forget about them from now on. Like, it might actually be like, especially if you get them to focus during these next 30 minutes on your product, on your service, they might start to realize maybe your product's a thing for them, and then they'll forget about the competitors altogether. Now, if you've ever had this happen naturally, and you've ever wondered why, like, they were talking about this competitor, suddenly they're not talking about this competitor, it's because you did some sort of this kind of a technique without knowing it. You're, like I've said before, if you're in sales or any customer-facing role, you're a hypnotist, you just don't know it. So sometimes you get lucky and you actually get the equivalent of what this is just by naturally how you talk to them and getting them to focus. But I'm telling you, if you start to use this phrase this way, you can invoke it every time. You can get them to forget every time. Now, they might still remember it after the 30 minutes, because you need to tell them after these 30 minutes or 60 minutes, then you can remember the competitor if you want. Give them that option. Let them have that option. Let them choose if they want to forget it permanently or if they want to remember the competitor. But at least for that 30 minutes or 60 minutes that you're talking to them, you can get them to forget about the competition, so they'll give 100% of their attention, consciously and subconsciously, right? Consciously and subconsciously, to everything you say. That's what you want, to increase the probability and the chances that you get your message through and you get what you need into their subconscious, so that way they can have a fair evaluation and give you a fair shake in what you're offering them and the value that you're bringing to them. So I know you got value out of this. I know you've never probably ever seen this before. I've never shared this with anyone, really. I mean, maybe a handful of salespeople that ask me, and I kind of secretly have. But now I have a video now, so now you know. So please share it with anyone else you think, one or two people you think could get value out of this technique. And I'll see you on the next Hypnosales show.